accountability and responsibility between the genders. Each of these subjects are specific to a certain gender. The responsibility belongs to the man and the accountability belongs to the woman. And now we're going to start with the man. And I'm going to give you guys a description of what a responsible man looks like. A responsible man provides for his family. And there is a huge misconception of what provision really is. And all of you think that provision only entails finances. There are a lot of fathers who provide financially but do not provide certain things. Hence, their families always crumble. Because if the money was on top of everything, those families would last most of the time. So we are going to explain and show in detail what provision looks like. A responsible man provides for the emotional needs of his family. He is present emotionally for his family. He checks that the family is happy. He checks that the family is well taken care of. He is a present father and he is a present husband. He is an aware father. He is an aware husband in essence. It means that when he is supporting his family emotionally, he tends to the non-physical needs, meaning that he is aware of the mental health of the children. He is aware of the mental health of the wife. So thus he is concerned and provides for his family emotionally in that sense. So responsible men provide for their families beyond money in that sense. They provide for the emotional needs of the family by being present, aware, and being supportive in essence. Because support plays a role in the development of the children and the longevity of the marriage. A responsible man provides for the physical needs of the family. And the physical needs also entail money, but also do not entail money. He is there to protect and serve his family. And what I mean is, he is aware of the safety and the location of his wife and children at all times, whether he's at work or he is in a business meeting or he's overseas. He is aware that where he knows where his children are, he knows where his wife is, and he protects them in many ways that we don't pay attention, by always making sure that the people that surround his family and the places that his family go to are generally safe, because he cannot be there all the time. So he makes sure that the physical protection of his family is always intact, whether him being present or not. But also in his presence, he is always there to protect his family. If his wife needs to go somewhere, he is available to take her there to make sure that she's safe. If his children need to go to school or his children need to go to a specific place or visit friends or family, he is there to observe and drop them off and make sure that they're safe. So a responsible man provides for the physical protection of his family in that sense, beyond him buying food and creating a shelter for them. There are a lot of things that can be done, because there are men who create shelters and still put in food, but they are not there to physically protect them and be aware of everything that happens to their family, because they are not there, or they don't take the initiative to understand the ongoings of their families. A responsible man provides for his family spiritually. He prays for his family. He manifests positive things for his family by walking in the right path through Jesus. He makes sure that he has a relationship with God, and he does not surround himself with chaos. And thus he protects his family also spiritually in that sense. Point number 2. A responsible man honors his family. he does not embarrass his family. Wherever he walks, he is the manifestation and the representation of his family. He does not go to the streets and embarrass his wife. He does not go to the streets and embarrass his woman. He's an honorable man. He works with purpose. He's responsible with his seed. He does not engage in activities that will jeopardize his family. That is a responsible man. He's honorable in his behavior, his demeanor, his movements, his interactions, his associations. Point number 3. A responsible man pours love into his family. And the way he pours love is by making time for his family. He's not the type of man when it's the first thing on a Saturday morning, he's gone, he's in the streets, he's drinking alcohol. He checks on his family, asks the children how their week was, asks his spouse that, baby, how was your week? How was work? Plans for the upcoming week for his family. He's present, he is available. Even if he would go to a function or in an event, if he gets a phone call, even if it's not an emergency, and his children need him or his wife need him, he avails himself. That is how he pours love into his family, by being available and present at all times. And he is aware of their needs and wants at all times. Even if he might not be able to cater to all of them, but for the fact that he's willing to listen and engage and tell them honestly and have honest conversations with his family about their financial position and where they're currently at. That counts for a lot than most men are, because a responsible man knows what is going on with his family, and he understands the sadness, the happiness of his family at all times. Another valid point: a responsible man is dedicated to his family. Nothing comes before his family. Not friends, not family, not money, not business. Yes, he needs to work, he needs to do certain things, but he will drop everything in a nutshell for his wife and his children. And it is important for us to understand what dedication looks like from a man. A responsible man is dedicated to his family in a way that he does not prioritize other things outside of his family. He involves his family in all he does. That is dedication. Another thing is that a responsible man grows his family both spiritually and goal-wise. He prays for his family. He prays for the future of the family. He prays for the health of the family. He prays for the longevity of the family. He prays for the well-being of the children. He prays for the happiness of his wife. He prays for God to give him strength to always work for his family. And how that looks goal-wise is that he puts an action plan of the things that he needs to do to acquire the resources to take care of his family in that fashion. He is not lazy for his family. He's proficient in everything that he does. Even if he brings in a small amount of money, he will not rest until his family eats. He will always take action to the needs and wants of his family. And that's how it makes sense, in that sense, how he grows his family. He always wants to pour energy into his family. His energy belongs to his family. That's how he grows. A family or a marriage is like plants. Plants, if you don't give them time, water, and love, and enough sunlight, they won't grow. It's the same with a family. Don't give them time, love, energy, and attention. They will not grow. There's going to be conflict in those families. No. And lastly, most importantly, a responsible man builds a present future plan for the family and never, ever lacks guidance for his family. He lives in the present and in the future. He is aware of what is currently going on and he is planning for tomorrow. He does not wake up on the whim of what is going to happen next week. Whatever happens, happens. No. He plans for his family. He has a plan for the future. He has a today's plan is him putting energy in today, but next week he's planning for the week. What needs to be done? What do I have to do for my family? What do I have to do for my wife? In that kind of fashion, and he guides his family through everything. He gives counsel to his wife. He gives counsel to his kids, and in that light, that's how responsible men operate. The second part of the video explains what an accountable woman looks like. And unfortunately, in the society that we live in today, a lot of women lack accountability. And I hope in the explanation that I'm about to give, a lot of you will understand or learn. If you have a teachable spirit, you will learn what accountability looks like, especially when you get into relationships or get into marriages. An accountable woman keeps an account of all her family's needs. What that means is this: she knows how much money is needed, how much energy is needed to fulfill those needs. She understands each individual's needs in the family, from the husband to the children to herself. She keeps an account of that. It might not be written down, but she knows her placement. She knows who needs what at what time. She has a schedule for her family. She has a schedule for herself. And she always tries to make them complement each other, especially if she has a supportive partner. But she must also put in the effort. And that's the problem. A lot of you are not putting in effort and energy in your relationships. You're complacent. You're making excuses. You're talking about that, no, I'm working and all these things. The man also works, but you expect him to fulfill his role every single time. Fulfill your role also. Understand the needs of your family and apply what is needed from your side. No, because each one needs to complement the other. A lot of you cannot reciprocate the energy that you're getting from the men that are doing things for you. And for those of you who are doing exactly what I'm describing, you're doing good. May God bless your unions. May God bless your families. But this is the lesson for those who are not applying. And you can also teach this to your fellow mates. So an accountable woman never misses the needs of her family. She is always aware of the needs of the family. She knows exactly what to do at what time and whose needs supersede the other. There are needs in the family that are more important than certain things, and those things we tend to confuse them and think they are needs, but they are wants. So an accountable woman knows her family's needs. She's aware every single time. Number 2, an accountable woman is not selfish. She is not selfish. She never puts herself before the needs of her family. And what that means is this: there's a lot of women that would buy unnecessary things or put their families in unnecessary debt, all for the sake of pleasing society or competing with the neighbors or competing with their families or even competing with her friends. Accountable women are not selfish. They know what their families need at what point in time, and they will never put their needs and wants above their family. It doesn't work that way. She knows the minute she does that, her family will be in jeopardy. And a lot of you will try and twist this video. I'm not talking about the women that are in relationships with selfish men and they shouldn't prioritize themselves. I'm talking about a lot of you who do not appreciate the efforts of the men that you have in your lives. And you are selfish in your nature, and you are selfish even to your own children. You put the needs of your families last and you always prioritize yourselves. and you always talk about your feelings and all these things, but you expect somebody to serve you and you do not serve your family. Point number 3, an accountable woman keeps a ledger of her family. She knows what the liabilities are, she knows what the assets are, how to grow them, what money to spend, which money not to spend. I was having a discussion with a friend that he said he gives his wife money and he tells the wife to save the money, and the wife always spends the money without even consulting him. I told him specifically, it is your own fault. In relationships, there needs to be descriptions of money and what that means. And this point also goes to the point of being selfish in terms of the leisure. A lot of men are not descriptive in the terms of money distribution between themselves and their spouse. And what I mean is this: every amount has to have a name to it. And what that means is, when you give her money, there needs to be a description to the money. Baby, this is money for the bricks. Baby, this is money for the food. Baby, this is an emergency fund. And an accountable woman understands when they say it is an emergency fund, you do not take that money and spend it on yourself. You do not. You do not. You are going against the program of the family, and women who are not accountable go against the programs of their family and jeopardize their families. They don't care enough about their families, hence they have to be selfish and prioritize themselves. So men need to learn how to describe money, and women need to learn how not to be selfish and understand that certain amounts are not about you. They are about the family. And this man put his trust in you and he gave you this money, and you broke his trust and you spent that money without even consulting him. So an accountable woman keeps a ledger of the family needs, expenditures, etc., etc. Point number 4, an accountable woman never wastes the resources of the family. I'll repeat myself. An accountable woman never wastes the resources of the family. She will not do anything to any amount, to anything that is of resource, that is an asset to the family, and jeopardize it for herself and for her own selfish needs. She will never do that. She will never do that. Accountable women never waste resources. No matter if there is an abundance or there is a shortage, they never waste resources. They always plan for a rainy day. They plan for the storm that is unknown. I hope that makes sense to a lot of you. Because a lot of you are unable to comprehend the vision of some of the good men that you have in your lives. And you are wasteful. You are not resourceful women. You are not resourceful wives. You waste the resources and the future, and you tarnish the future of your children in that midst by being wasteful, buying things that you don't need. Point number 5, an accountable woman prioritizes her family above all else. Let me explain what that means. What that means in a nutshell is that an accountable woman will not make any plans if she knows that she needs to neglect her family, neglect her husband, neglect her children. She will not do that. She will not do that. She prioritizes her family in every sense of the word. Her children are her life. Her husband her husband is her life. I hope that makes sense. English is not Englishing, but it's fine. I hope you guys understand me. Her priority is her family. And she will not have other things that will distract her, like friends that will poison her mind, friends that will do crazy things. Lastly, an accountable woman listens to and comprehends to the vision of the family. I'll repeat it again. An accountable woman listens to and comprehends the vision of the family. A lot of you have a listening problem and a comprehension problem. Whenever your husband or your boyfriends or even your spouses, you listen to respond. You don't want to listen where this man is coming from. You don't want to listen where your children are coming from, because sometimes your children see things that you guys don't see. You put them off in a shelf and say they are children, and you disrespect your husband by not listening to him and comprehending what he needs to say to you about the vision of the family. Accountable women listen to the vision of the family and comprehend the vision of the family, because she knows if she is in support of her husband and multiplies whatever positive energy he's bringing her way, the family wins. She wins. But a lot of you are selfish. Your education has gotten into your minds, your beauty gets in your minds, and you mess up your family, some of you. Some of you are not even married to men who cheat, men who are abusive. You are married to fantastic men, but you're too self-absorbed. You're not accountable. So accountability in this sense speaks to the character and the mentality and the spirit and the spiritual image and spiritual being of a woman. If a woman is not intact in all those spheres, she's selfish and she's not accountable to anyone and to anything, even her own family. She will burn her own family and watch it and never even care.